Hello everyone and welcome back to ESCism, your escapism to Eurovision. Now, I'm actually been really enjoying all these videos and discussions that we've been having, so please, if you enjoyed too, please feel free to subscribe and like the video. I haven't really asked people to subscribe or even like the videos, but I really appreciate it. All helps. But today we're going to be talking about an update by the EBU on the Dutch entry, Joost Klein being disqualified, and we'll just quickly pull that up now. Now, I'm viewing this from Twitter, from a very well-known Eurovision journalist, ESC Gabe. Mainly because I actually want to go to ESC Gabe's comments after this, which I mostly agree with. But let's just look at the statement. So this was updated on Monday, 13th of May. It's currently Tuesday, so it's a day late, unfortunately. But the Dutch artist Joost Klein was disqualified from the grand final of this year's Eurovision Song Contest following threatening behaviour directed at a female member of the production crew. Swedish police have investigated the offence, and the case will soon be handed over to the prosecutor in an accelerated procedure. Joost's behaviour was in clear breach of contest rules, which are designed to ensure there's a safe working environment for all staff and to protect the production. We are not prejudging the legal process, but given the circumstances of what occurred and the fact that the police case will be shortly be handed to the prosecutor, it would not be appropriate for Joost to participate in the grand final. The decision to exclude him was backed by the contest's governing body of members, the Eurovision Song Contest Reference Group, and unanimously supported by the EBU Executive Board following a thorough internal investigation. The version of events released in some public comments and on social media does not correspond with the statements shared with us and the Swedish police by staff and witnesses. However, the matter is now subject to legal proceedings, and there is unfortunately nothing further we can add at this stage. We have zero tolerance policy towards inappropriate behaviour at our events, and will always take necessary action to address threats to staff no matter who they come from. Now, just going back to full screen me, this statement is bad for people in the know, so people who are big like Eurovision fans, because they can break this down quite well. But it is a good statement for people who are just wanting to keep in touch, understand what's going on, and they're going to get on with the rest of the day. This statement is a very good one for them. I don't really like the statement for a number of reasons. Now, reason number one is, I forgot you can't see my mouse, like you can now. Why are we thinking that female member of production and all, why are we always insinuating that it's a female member? Why are we always trying to make that a forefront of the conversation? And the thing is, and I think this goes back to an earlier statement, this is kind of actually trying to justify saying female earlier. Whenever you hear a statement which is like, there's been an incident between a male and a female, and it's very vague, it kind of insinuates some sort of sexual harassment along those lines of talkings. Because whenever it comes to that sort of incident, in most countries in the world, you can't talk heavily about that stuff. You need to keep that on the low. The reason being is that if it's turned out to be untrue, you can get fined out the arse and you can have loads of legal issues just by insinuating that that's the actual incident. And even trying to go into detail on that. I do not believe that it needs to be brought up what gender or how someone identifies as in this context. Why can't I just say threatening behaviour towards a member of the production crew? We know the Swedish police are investigating the offence, and we also know it's been handed over to the prosecutor in a advanced procedure. I think the actual procedure ends in June, so we'll actually get a conclusion to this hopefully in June, but I think we'll still hear about it months onwards. Joost's behaviour is in clear breach of contest rules, which ensured there is a safe working environment for all staff. Now, key things here: breach of contest rules and staff. They're the two things that we need to look at here. So there's a bunch of rules that everyone has to agree to. Usually it's just don't be threatening, be apolitical, so on and so forth, no bullying. There has been reports of bullying from a delegation from Israel, that a bunch of people have complained about, which actually ESC Gabe has actually cut out some comments on who has currently reported them, and the I don't think they go through the actual incidents, but who's reported what to the EBU. Now, the other thing here is that it's for all staff. Now, who is the staff? The staff would be the production and the crew that surrounds that. So the EBU staff that technically work there, but also the, I guess, Swedish broadcasting crew, because they are the production crew for that. Now, if the contest rules and breaching them are only designed to protect those individuals, then the precedent is that I could just immediately be insultive towards anyone. The fans can be as well, as long as it's not directed to the EBU or the coast broadcaster, then it's fine. Is that what I'm being told? Are we saying that the Israel delegation technically was fine because it wasn't against our staff? I think these comments are used to protect themselves from certain incidents, because this kind of puts the, well, technically it wasn't against our staff and therefore we didn't need to do anything about it. Hands up. And I think that's kind of a layer they're putting up there. But also I think they're protecting themselves from like unions and stuff where, well, this incident is against someone that's in a union probably in this country. We need to do something about this. We need to go through an actual procedure. But because when a contestant's bullying, a contestant's delegation is bullying another contestant's delegation, they're not in a union, we can't get any legal issues. I think it's something along the lines of that they're trying to say, but in a very tight-edged way. The decision to exclude was backed by this content's governing body members, the Eurovision Song Contest Rescue Group, and unanimously supported by the EBU Executive Board following a thorough internal investigation. There's no talk about what this internal investigation included and what came from it, mainly because it's probably gone to this Swedish police and they probably can't talk about it. But I would also say that what's the conversation here against the other issues that have come up? Again, we're just kind of ignoring it, but I think that's what this is designed to do, is ignore the big elephant in the room and try and distract away from it. I think the whole incident is about that anyways. The version of events in some public comments and on social media does not correspond with that. This is them just defending themselves against people who were essentially saying that it was sexual harassment, because now they're pretty much, I feel like that statement there is just trying to go, yeah, don't believe that comment, but they're not saying don't believe that comment. Again, they're not telling us which ones to ignore and what allegations to ignore. I think the biggest one that we can definitely ignore is the joke about someone making a comment to Joost's father and making fun of Joost's father's death. I don't think there's been any backing on that from any actual source. I think that was all just social media talk. And that's basically what I've got from this, is they're defending themselves from the people that work with them, but they're not actually protecting the fans, the audience, the people who actually are contesting in it. They're just protecting themselves and their staff or the host broadcaster. So if anything to go by, guys, that means you can do and say whatever you want to any delegation. There's no wrong with that. As long as you're not doing it to the host nation or the EBU itself, you are fine. Unless, wait a minute, why did they mute the crowd booing then? So maybe we can't do that. It contradicts each other. And I think another thing to know, and we're going to go over here to ESC Gay's comment, the EBU has updated their statement regarding Joost Klein's disqualification from the competition. Like I said before, if a zero tolerance policy towards inappropriate behaviour at events, then why was harassment of artists and press ignored for the entire week? Again, very good statement. We have no clue. It just seems like they're just protecting themselves with the staff. Stupid. And we even get that comment here from Stroopwafels. I hope I've pronounced that right, because they aren't staff. I'm not justifying it, but basically that's the implication of this statement, frankly. I suppress at work too. We deserve an environment free from harassment. This here is basically it. Why why are you saying that zero tolerance, but why are you having to include staff? This should be zero tolerance to everyone. That should be the statement. And I think the EBU know that they have to be very, because this speaks volumes of a bunch of lawyers looking at this. The EBU probably has a bunch of lawyers looking at every statement they make all the time. I think there's been double, triple checked by a bunch of lawyers, and they're making sure the vocabulary is just perfect enough to not get into any trouble. Do I expect Israel to be banned next year? I do not. That is just going to be my saying straight up loud. This is more to the EBU structure of having basically the broadcasters being sort of in each other's state. So like the BBC, of course, is the UK state broadcaster. RTE is the Irish state broadcaster, etc. So the apoliticalness of Eurovision doesn't exist because if it's the UK's general interest to have a good relationship with Israel, they are not going to kick him out of this event. And that's the UK as in the government, the political body, saying that, oh, we do not want these removed because we want to allow them to compete because we don't want to have any bad blood with Israel, the country. I think that this is a very blanket statement, and I don't think they even need to say anything because all this does, I think, is update people that, again, not massive Eurovision fans, just giving them a blanket statement to go, this is what's going on with this, and brushing away the Israel issue. But for us who are more Eurovision super fans, I guess, we can see through this, and I think we can be rightfully upset by this. To quickly go to back to Gabe again, and we're gonna quickly go over to here. So far, we know that the EBU received reports from or had crisis meetings with the Dutch broadcaster, the AVROTROS, the Irish broadcaster RTE, the British broadcaster, the BBC, the Portuguese broadcaster, the RTP, is that Slovakia? No, it'd be Slovenia, right? Slovenia broadcaster, RTV SLO, and the Swiss broadcaster, the SRG SSR. A member of ICE have made statements including Norway, Lithuania, Poland, and Ukraine. Poland made a statement that was like they heard or witnessed the concerns. Lithuania was like, we did not want to follow the Israel performance in the finals because it was a very intense crowd after that booing. I mean, Norway spoke about withdrawing nearly, and I think Ukraine, I don't know what Ukraine's statement was, but I'm pretty sure Ukraine's statement is probably along the same lines as Poland and Norway. The Spanish broadcaster, the RTVE, made a statement regarding harassment of a journalist. I think we spoke about that in our first video on this channel. And the Serbian broadcaster, the RTS, their head of entertainment criticised the disqualification of Joost Klein, and I think they also inquired about the boos being withdrawn or blocked out on the Israeli performance. We may hear from the Greek artist Marina Satir or the Greek broadcaster ERT eventually, given they were affected by the Saturday flag parade incident. But yeah, this is just a mess that we're going to hear about. But again, I think Israel's going to be in this contest next year, unfortunately. And it doesn't seem like there'll be any major punishment happening to them for what's happened. Anyways, guys, I hope I kept you updated, and I hope my thoughts were good enough to come to this video. Again, please subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. This has been ESCism, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye.